Well guys, we have a lot of stuff to talk about in this video. As you know, I haven't worked on the truck in the last, I think 3 weeks because there has been no uploads. I really only have started work on it for about a week now. And I think I got a lot of stuff done. I think you'll be surprised if you're not following on my Instagram, then you probably don't know what's been done. So if you want the inside sneak peek of the up-to-date videos, I guess you could say, you might want to subscribe or go follow my Instagram at @elgallo_build. So check it out. So okay, first things first. I know for sure I didn't have the cab here since the last upload. I brought the cab home. I brought my front wheels home. I started on the front suspension, got pretty much the front end, started kind of like the mock-up and getting it ready to start fabricating tubs and the firewall and whatnot. So let's see, where can we start? Well, first things first, we brought the cab home, had it set in place, and then I built the second cross member right where the second set of cab mounts were. Set that in place. Then I built the transmission cross member, put that in place. So when I brought the cab home, I did some measurements and we ran into an issue. I am not going to be able to use that 4L80 and the 6.0 in the truck anymore. I already have a buyer for it. Somebody's already going to come pick it up. But whenever I brought the cab home, I took a piece of metal, put it up on the rocker, and then from the top of that metal to the top of the transmission tunnel, we had about 13 and a half inches of clearance from the ground up. When I had the 4L80 in there, the 4L80 was sitting like 16 inches off the ground, like 16 inches high, like to the top of the transmission. That was not going to work. The only way I would have made that work is if I cut the transmission tunnel, raise it up. That's another step I really don't want to do. So through the 4L80, the 4L60 and the 5.3 back in it, we're just going to be running that. It's not going to be like a race truck or anything. That's going to be for the GMC. We're going to make that into the race truck. So yeah, we're not using the 6.0, the 4L80. Put the 5.3 and the 4L60 back in it. I built the transmission cross member for it. I kind of messed up on it because it's sitting too far over to the passenger side, but that's an easy fix. Built the second cross member, set the cab onto the frame. Then before I set the cab on the frame, I started cutting that spring bucket in the front. Put the chassis fab upper and lower control arm kit. Set that, just clamped it in place. It's not fully welded yet, just to make sure everything was in the right spot and the wheel was sitting correctly, like more or less. Got that clamped in place, built the knuckle, like all the rotor, the caliper and whatnot on it. Put the front wheels back on it. That way I could start trimming my firewall. And then the cowl actually went up into the cowl. Set the front end in place, set the fenders in place, cut the fenders, all that good stuff. But here, I'll better show you. All right, so here we go. Here, like I said, is that 6.0 and the 4L80. Already sold, so don't ask. But look at that. The cab is sitting in place, all that good stuff. Everything, the cab mounts lined up. We're all good there. We got the front suspension built. Like I said, it's just clamped in place. So it's just held on with that clamp. We're not going to be welding it until I for sure know where it's going to go. Excuse me. Until I for sure know where it's going to go. And it's kind of there already, so still going to wait on it. Put both front suspension kits on it. Like I said, built the brakes so I can mount the wheels. Got the wheels on it. As you can see, we cut a massive amount of sheet metal away from the firewall and from that cowl. So it's protruding pretty far into the dash, into the firewall. So we got that set in place. And then I started trimming the fenders. We got the fenders kind of trimmed in. That one still needs to be trimmed a little bit more, but I'm just doing rough cuts for now. Then I went and got the radius port. Ran into some problems with that. I'm gonna have to trim down in here where the C is. I'm gonna make a little bit more clearance and then trim the the radiator support to clear a little bit better around that frame rail. And then the fan shroud is gonna have to be also trimmed because it would be hitting pretty much the frame. It's not gonna go on at all unless I trim it. So, got that set in place. And then just for shits and giggles, we went and got the bumper out of the back, dug it up, and we set it in place. That way I can kind of guesstimate where it's gonna be sitting. I know we got a huge gap on there, but bolts aren't even tightened down. So not all the bolts are on there, but we're sitting pretty low. I mean, like I said, that's gonna be adjusted. So we're gonna be sitting really, really low. I have a crazy idea. I saw a rendering online. I'm gonna do some crazy shit up here. If I end up going through with it, that'll be a surprise, but that's later on down the road. We gotta make this at least a rolling chassis for the show. Next thing, I fucked up on the axles. Yep, $400 went down the drain. And I don't know if you can guess from just looking at it. I'll give you a few seconds. But here are my axles that I had ordered. Spent $400 on. Yeah, I ordered an 8-lug by accident. So, unfortunately, because these are built to order, those are not returnable. These are shortened axles that would fit a 8-lug Chevy 9.5 rear end. So nobody's gonna be looking for this specific shortened axle unless exactly they're running a wheel or setup where they require this shortened axle, which I shortened it 5 3/4. So that's like finding a needle in a haystack. So this happened actually yesterday. And I pulled out the axles, was ready to set them in. Saw they were 8-lug. So big fuck up on my end right there. So I'm gonna actually try to MacGyver and take a big risk and actually cut my old axles and weld them back together. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much all the progress that I got done in this last week. Got the new engine sitting in place, pulled the old one out, built the 2 cross members, set the cab in place, cut that spring bucket, clamped the new suspension in place, started mocking up set the wheels in place so I can cut the firewall. Cut the firewall first, then I started trimming the fenders, kind of set the fenders in place and bolted them in the back. And then I went and got the radiator support, put the radiator support in place. That's gonna have to be trimmed. And then, like I said, we put the bumper on there so we can kind of get an idea of how this thing is gonna look. And I'm loving it so far. So still got a lot of work ahead of me. I don't know if I'm actually gonna go ahead and start tubbing. I really wanted to get that rear end together because I want to start redoing the rear end. As I mentioned, I put it on my Instagram. I don't like this setup. It doesn't look, it looked cool at first, but now it's just not attractive to me. I really don't want to use this no more. I'm pretty much, luckily, it's all tacked in. Nothing's fully welded. I'm going to untack it from there, grind the welds off, and rebuild everything back here. So since kind of the front is sort of mocked up together, that's going to stay like it is for now. That looks good. Now we're going to start working on the back end. And what we're going to start doing, like I said, cut this off. I don't want to go high on the kick up right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grind it and angle it to where I can get it like right in this general area, not as high. And then I'll do sort of like a step notch over the rear end. And then from here, I'm probably going to come straight down, go forward, and probably have it like, I don't know, like 5 inches off the ground. And then that way, then I'll have somewhere to bolt my rear bumper. Because that was the main issue that I was thinking that I was gonna have with this rear end, was where the hell am I gonna put the bumper? So I really don't want to use a roll pin. So all this is gonna be rebuilt. So yeah, it's hot as hell right here in the garage right now. As you can see, I'm sweating like crazy. So I'm not gonna work on it today just because, like I said, when the sun starts to set, this garage just turns into an oven. Even if I have that portico, it helps, but not that much. So I'm gonna try to just get this video out for you guys. And today's Saturday. Instead of uploading on a Sunday, I'm gonna upload it today on a Saturday because I actually worked this morning, so I really have no energy to work on the truck today. So probably tomorrow I'm gonna start tearing down that rear end, redoing it, and then, like I said, take that risk and shorten the old axles. So make sure you check it out on Instagram. My Instagram at @elgallo_build. That's where I'll upload some videos here and there on my story, so you'll know up to date what's going on with the truck, and you'll know ahead of time before I take another 3 weeks and upload another video. So yeah, so check it out, guys. Make sure you still get yourself a perfectly ruined hat. Not wearing one today, wearing my Airlift Performance one, but there'll be a link in the description below if you want to buy a hat. And I guess that'll be it, guys. Make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, share the video, and keep up with this build because y'all probably gonna like whenever I do this front end swap. I'm gonna do a pretty cool little thing. I saw a rendering. I don't know if it's like copyright, so hopefully we don't get in any trouble with it. So yo, guys, thanks for checking in on the video. Sorry for the late update, but what can you do when you're a lazy guy like me? So take it easy, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next upload.